Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. Here I'm looking back at two posts from the 21st of January 2011, the year I began to write my blog about my son's recovery from anorexia. These posts kind of morph into each other and they're both short, so it seemed to make sense to read them both. This one's called Walking and Talking About the Anorexia. Over the past 18 months, Ben and I have got to know the beautiful local countryside very well indeed. We've walked and talked again and again and again across all 4 seasons. In the hot sun, the crunchy leaves of autumn and the deep snow. On Tuesday, as the sun set behind the lake and we squelched through yet another muddy field, Ben said how much he has appreciated our little chats, as he calls them, finding them incredibly therapeutic. I talked about how, for ages, I felt that I was banging my head against a brick wall. We'd talk about recovery on these walks, and Ben would promise to do X, Y or Z, but he'd rarely keep his word. Not because he didn't want to, but because the anorexia meant that he just couldn't. As I watched Ben get thinner and more embedded in the anorexia, these walks and talks broke my heart, especially on days when things seemed totally without hope. But lately, things have been very different. We're going over similar stuff, but the difference is that since the autumn, Ben has been actively committed to his recovery. We have turned a corner. These days, he follows up suggestions or discussions, and we make significant progress. Far from banging my head against a brick wall, I actually feel as if I'm doing good. Watching the wildfowl situated against the setting sun over the lake, we talked about exercising, how he's making a real effort to cut it back and managing to do this reasonably successfully, about easing back into school full-time and examining the problems that are making it hard for him and working out ways to overcome them, about socialising, the importance of fantastic friendships he's developing with his supportive friends, about eating. What has he found difficult this week? What challenges has he made himself? Were they successful? Plus, contrasting how different eating is now compared with several months ago, about what life will look like without the anorexia, why he really looks forward to having kids when he's older, and also why life without anorexia seems real now, whereas only a few months ago it seemed unobtainable, and so on. Phew, we covered a lot of ground, talking and walking. And having walked and talked our way round virtually all of the local countryside pathways, I've just sent off for a map of the adjacent area, so we'll have a stack more countryside paths to walk and talk across soon. This next post from the same day is called Fatty Sausages and Cheese, 2 fingers up at the anorexia. 2 massive challenges in one meal. Fatty sausages and cheesy mashed potato. Both are things which would have sent Ben into a frenzy a few months ago. But yesterday he ate both without any problem at all. In fact, for the first time for ages, he actually saw the sausages cooking, surrounded by oozing fat, and it didn't faze him at all. Another thing we talked about on our walk was how he is now relaxed about what he calls condensing his calories. The days of elaborately prepared meals comprising loads of low-calorie stuff that took ages to eat are over. Now he's able to include higher-calorie foods, including fats, which make preparation and eating easier, quicker, and much more normal. Also, he said, On Saturday, I bought and ate a high-calorie sandwich, and I ate it in Dad's car, and I ate it at 2 p.m, and I came home and had a snack in the middle of the afternoon, knowing that our evening meal wasn't far away. In the old anorexia past, he would have had to eat in a certain place, at a table, for example, and at a specific meal time, like, for example, 12:30. Plus, he couldn't rush it. In the bad old anorexia days, every single meal had to be perfect or else. And despite the fact that recovering anorexics are supposed to have mid-morning and afternoon snacks, Ben has never been able to do this. So an afternoon snack, entirely of his own choosing, is massive progress. That's the end of that blog post. And it's also important, as I've said before in my other blog posts, to be mindful of the fact that once they start eating more, just to check that they're not purging in some way. With Ben, the purging comprised exercise, compulsive exercise, and this was something we had to really work hard at containing during 2011. So that's the end of that, and thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.